Days end on a strip of highway overlooking the site of Lebanon's latest wound, the twisted remains of Beirut's port drawing people like a siren's call. Some to pose against the backdrop of history, but others to probe the depth of the injury and draw loved ones close. Beirut is now a city of slogans and wishful thinking, promising resurrection. Dr. Peter Noon can be found deep in the bowels of the St. George Hospital, almost completely destroyed by the explosion. The pediatric oncologist has only now got a couple of chemotherapy suites up and running for outpatients.
We are not comfortable here. We are not in our place, but we're back. This is a sign that we will continue.
It's no small feat. These images were taken by the father of one of Noon's patients, looking for his wife and daughter right after the blast. The stuff of nightmares, especially for a family with a child battling cancer. Yasma, reunited with her father and moved to a hospital north of Beirut, tells us she's 4 and that she wasn't afraid. But her mother, Hannah, says the explosion has robbed them of any sense of security they had left.
We no more feel safe and strong to support her to fight against the cancer. So it's starting from us. If we tell her again that everything's gonna be okay, actually we are lying on her.
Every parent we meet at either hospital says they see no future for their children in Lebanon.
For him, I want him to live. And I have another daughter. I want them to leave Lebanon for studying, for work, for safety. I want them to leave. Nothing is stable in Lebanon.
Not even the hospitals, victims of Lebanon's financial meltdown, unpaid bills and inflation, making drugs and equipment too expensive.
Many of them are at danger of closing because we cannot afford anymore to pay all these bills. Hospitals cannot, people cannot, nobody can.
Lebanon was already on its knees, and when 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate, neglected for years, exploded, it took with it a critical lifeline for the country.
Some 80% of the goods that Lebanon consumes are actually imported, and most of them, including much-needed grain supplies, came through this port, now just a husk of its former self.
There is, walking Beirut streets, a sense of vertigo. Shorn buildings and homes turned inside out, a reflection almost of people's inner turmoil, the sense of things hanging by a thread. Mahul Al-Hamid stares out from the balcony of his rented apartment at an ever-shrinking horizon. He's one of over 1 million Syrian refugees in Lebanon. They think we are a burden, he says, but he brought his children in 2016, he explains, to make them safer from the war. Another parent whose sense of security has vanished. His youngest daughter, Sama, lost her eye in the explosion. Smart as a whip and in control of the room, she patiently describes what happened for a visiting news crew. Thieves came out that night, she tells us, along with ghosts and lions and everything scary. No wonder. Sama was hit by flying glass, a neighbor rushing her to hospital, blood streaming down her face. Now, she says, her dream is to find another eye. Her father's options, though, are few. A day laborer out of work with pandemic lockdowns and no medical insurance. The stories drift easily from one street to another, as if plucked from Sama's imagination, but all too real. Someone has taken all the clocks from Abdo Faroun's house and put them in a pile. They all stopped around the time of the explosion. Faroun was born in the house. It's over 200 years old, a former heritage gem, Now, with the collapsed roof and its living room walls blown clear off.
This window has been opening up the last 5 days.
Its savior, Faroun's savior, comes not in the form of government help, but in a wealthy engineer, donating time and workers.
We live in a country where we can't expect anything from anybody but ourselves.
Riyad al-Assad says he will stay in Lebanon even though he believes the sectarian leaders who've long ruled the country are going nowhere.
We used to say we fight for our kids, but our kids don't want us to fight for them. They've left, so we're fighting for ourselves. We're not fighting for the memory, but we're fighting to whatever we believed in and stood by.
But it is as much an emotional fight as a physical one, a sustained effort to keep faith in a city and a country that promises to rise again, even as it falls yet again. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Beirut.